With me right now is the Attorney General for the state of Minnesota, Mr. Keith Ellison. Thank you so much, sir, for being on the show. Let's get right to it. The officer, Derek Chauvin, he's been arrested and charged with third-degree manslaughter. Why have not the other three officers been charged as of yet?
Well, before last night, it was not my case. Now that I'm on the case, less than 24 hours, we have dug in and we're doing a fresh look at the evidence and the charges. We will be able to go through a fairly quick, and I mean very quick, review. We already know a lot. And so those things may very well change. I don't have anything to announce right here, right now, but people can trust that we will charge everyone who is culpable and blameworthy and who has violated the law with the highest accountability that the law provides for. They can be assured of that.
There are a lot.
That's my pledge and responsibility.
There are a lot of people that have asked why third-degree murder charges against Derek Chauvin as opposed to second-degree murder. Can you explain why that would be the case?
Well, actually, no, I can't. And the reason why is that when that was charged out, it was not my case. There are provisions in second degree that may, and I have to be somewhat circumspect because, we're still in the investigative stage here, but that may apply. And so I think that I'd ask people for something that I don't even have a right to ask them for, which is a little bit of patience to get through this evidence, because I think that we may end up amending the complaint. I'm not announcing anything now, but that is certainly a possibility and on the table.
Has body cam footage been released to you? Body cam on the part of police
some
officers.
of it.
Has that been released to you?
Well, we're getting it all now. Let me tell you, this morning is when we started engaging that process. We're still working through it. We haven't even had a full briefing by the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension yet, but those things are scheduled and we're moving forward. I would like to just say, Stephen A., I'm not going to be in a position in the future to comment on the evidence. It's something that a prosecutor cannot ethically do. But I will tell people this, I got good eyesight and I saw what everybody else saw and was disturbed as much as anyone else. And we are committed to bringing justice to this for everyone involved and for the highest level of accountability that we can.
How should people be feeling about the state of Minnesota right now when it comes to law enforcement, when there's an officer that had 18 complaints against him and only 2 saw disciplinary action?
We need reform, brother. We need deep level reform. Our chief of police is dedicated to reform. Madeira Arredondo was the one who fired the 4 officers within 24 hours. Yet, our city has a police federation where, the president essentially operates like an alternative chief who alibis bad behavior all the time, who doesn't want to reform anything. But the reform is coming anyway. I think the chief is committed. He needs some help. There's some city council members committed to it, but it's a long drive to reform, but we are on that direction. But people should feel like it's completely unsatisfactory.
Mr. Ellison, deeply appreciate your time during this busy morning. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Looking forward to talking to you in the future.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Stephen A. and Mr. Ellison, for that interview. Stephen A., I want to open it up to you for some final thoughts on today.
It's been a rough weekend. Been a rough week. A week ago, George Floyd, we saw him murdered. That is what black people feel. That is what we hope the law enforcement industry, or rather the judicial system, ultimately is a conclusion it will reach. He was appropriately, the officer in question, was appropriately arrested, charged with third-degree murder, although, according to my sources, he's been let out on bail. The other 3 officers should be charged as well. These are the kind of things that we know. What America needs to realize is at this particular moment in time, Laura, it's incredibly essential that as we move forward, We make sure we recognize the importance of bringing attention to the egregious acts exercised by law enforcement officials. But just as equally as important is for us to recognize the fact that there are a whole lot of people out there who happen not to be African Americans that are speaking up about these issues and issues that have permeated our community and have drastically affected us. They know it's unfair. They know it's egregious. They know that we've been prejudiced against. They know that racism still exists, that it's still too flagrant, too alarming to ignore, and people are speaking up. And that is a beautiful thing, because when that happens, particularly when that voice emanates from young white folks, you know change is possible, because the people in power, ultimately, these are their children, and they're not going to be ostracized.